My car was in a very minor accident. Someone hit the bumper. I thought it would be fairly easy and I'd be in and out in just a couple days.
We weren't looking to have a long stay or a major repair to this vehicle, but when she brought the vehicle in, we noticed a musty odor in her vehicle.
Mark called me and asked if I'd been in a previous accident, and I had been. I was hit in the same spot, and so when he was looking at my car to repair this recent damage, he noticed severe damage from previous repairs that were done by another body shop.
When we investigated a little further, we found a pool of water in the trunk of her car. That's from not properly using corrosion protection, not seam sealing the area, and not painting the area. So there were numerous procedures that were skipped, possibly because the insurance company didn't pay him to do it. That's not an excuse.
I had no idea. I mean, when I got the car back from the initial body shop a year ago, it looked pretty from the outside, and I thought everything was fine. It drove fine. It wasn't until recently that the smell started. So I guess it took some time for the water to start seeping in and really piled up to create that odor.
They did install a new left quarter panel so that the outside of the vehicle would present well. So it looked good from the outside, but once we opened it up, it was an absolute train wreck inside.
I had no way of knowing it was unsafe. I would have kept on driving it if it wasn't for that small fender bender I was in, which brought me to Mark's.
The quarter panel was installed in a location other than where Lexus had recommended it being installed. We know if we go outside of Lexus's repair guidelines that we can alter the crash management of the vehicle. So we don't know how that vehicle would react in a subsequent collision. Lexus requires that the seat output check be done on the passenger seat occupancy sensor. That wasn't done, which means that an airbag might not go off. The left rear floor extension was still damaged, so it was short. So they bent the quarter in as much as they could to try to attach it to that left floor extension. Wasn't a proper repair. There was gaps in that area, and it was ultimately rusting out because it wasn't done properly. In a subsequent collision, it's weaker. You know, the strength that car was designed with in that area is no longer there. But aside from the strength being gone, it's rusting out, so it's going to continue to corrode and weaken and ultimately fall apart. I mean, there were metal shavings in the trunk that were rusting. There was Bondo dust on the perch for the left rear shock strut. It speaks to the speed of which they were trying to get this vehicle out of the shop. Those particles and that dust should have been vacuumed out. The inside of that left rear structure should have been refinished.
Basically, they were supposed to match the left side of the car to the right side of the car. Things had to be replaced, things had to be redone, and they just weren't. I mean, it was blatant fraud.
They had a panel that was supposed to be replaced and labor to install it. And since none of that was done, that's 100% profit. Sometimes shops commit fraud. You know, they bill to install a panel, but they don't, and they collect that money as 100% profit. Maybe they weren't able to be profitable in other areas of the repair, so that's somewhere where they were able to collect some profit.
With the damage in the car, it would have no resale value at all, so I wouldn't have been able to sell it.
It was unsafe. No one's going to buy a vehicle that is obviously unsafe and poorly repaired.
It's scary. It's scary to know that I could have been in an accident and my car wouldn't have held up like it's supposed to. I felt cheated by the place I took my car because, you know, I trusted them to fix my car the way they're supposed to, and they didn't.
The customer was not aware of any of the repair procedures or any of the things that took place. She just trusted that when she went to the body shop where her insurance company told her to go, that everything would be done right, and that didn't happen.
I'm fortunate enough that, you know, the second hit to my car was something small, and it brought me to Mark's Body Shop.
When a shop is given a budget and their main goal is to try to contain the costs of the repair, that some things get missed, corners get cut, and that's what it appears happened in this case. I wouldn't say that all DRP shops are bad. There are probably some good DRP shops and some bad non-DRP shops. But what I will say is anytime that a body shop has to work inside of a budget and are being told what types of parts to use and when to repair something versus replace it, that's an issue. I think it's a major conflict of interest. And if it were my car and I were somewhere else searching for a good body shop, I'd want to make sure that that shop was working for me and not working for an insurance company.
It's just as easy to do your research and talk to your friends and your family and find a good, reliable body shop to take your car. It's just as easy to do that as it is to take it to where your insurance says.
Consumers should do their own homework and demand that they have their vehicle repaired where they want to, and get involved and educate themselves on what needs to be done to properly fix their car. It's just become a necessity in today's environment, because at the end of the day, what's at stake is their family safety.
It's your life and the lives of your passengers. So I think it's worth your time to really look into where you're going to take your car. I know I would do things differently, and I hope other people can learn from my mistakes.